Welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. Are you trying to master the game of life without success? There are secrets and strategies to living your best life. We'll share some of them with you on today's show. Take advantage of this series to become an expert at relationships. All relationships. It's time to live the life that you deserve to live. Now, here's your host, Sandra Reish.
Welcome to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish, a show about living your best life. I must say, there's a little lump in my throat today, and I almost felt a little tear come up. Today is our last show. After 3 years of doing Straight Talk, it's been an incredible journey. The goal was to try to help people live their best life, and if I have time, I'm going to review some of the things that we all arrived at together. It's been wonderful to be with you all and to have so much support. I have to say thanks right off the bat to Voice America and for giving me this opportunity and for the support they showed me the whole way through, and many other people who were involved, Spa Minari, in supporting this show, all my special guests, which we'll talk about all the different lessons they taught us, and most importantly, I guess, I think we can fairly say the most important part of the show is having people listen. And we've had people listen. We have people listening from all over the world. And it's been such a treat to get your feedback and your comments. It's my last show today. So this is a good time to call in if you want to say anything about the show or just ask a question. 1-866-472-5792. Last show, I wanted to invite two of my most regular guests I've had on the show. So if you've been following Straight Talk, you know who they are. I'm not going to say yet. They have not arrived. I am here by myself right now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the journey, the lessons, why we're ending, and so on and so forth. So if this is the first time you're tuning into the show, we've been on a journey of teaching people to live their best life. We've talked about anxiety, relationships, depression, sleep, boundaries, nutrition, health, stretching, internet, you name it, we talked about it. That was the original vision, is to do a show and talk about the challenges that people come up against. And like the intro says, there really are secrets to living your best life. And I think today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of our best secrets that we want to share to leave you with. There really are a lot of things to learn. So for the last 3 weeks, I've replayed the most popular shows that we ever had on Straight Talk. We've had some incredible guests. I want to talk a little bit about that, some of the topics that have come up. So again, the major theme of the show has always been psychological, but we have delved into other areas. Our number one show of all time was a show on nutrition. And it would be remiss for me on the last show not to mention, if you haven't heard it, it's the How Not to Die show. Part 1 and part 2, How Not to Die and How to Not Die with the incredible Dr. Michael Greger. I think that one of the themes of Straight Talk and my own life, and even ending the show, is about living your truth. And I'm going to relate this back to the show on nutrition, and why I'm ending the show is, to thyself be true, said Shakespeare. And sometimes we have a hard time admitting the truth to ourselves because the truth is not always what we want it to be. So when we did the show on nutrition, it was very much about getting the information out to you about nutrition. We deserve to know the truth and then make informed decisions. That's a very important part. So if you get a chance to listen to that show, you want to listen to that and you want to consider what's the science telling us versus what's coming out at us in terms of nutrition to make informed decisions. There's no real agenda. You can do whatever you like, but we definitely want the truth. When we talk about the truth about ending this show, I just said I'm very sad, but if you've been following, I hit a wall, and I recently realized I'm just not keeping up. I got too many projects. I've got the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression, which is here in Montreal. We run an anxiety and depression clinic, and we have the great privilege of helping people with anxiety, depression, relationship issues. Keeps me pretty busy. We've got the anxiety videos. We've talked about those throughout the show with Georgia Dow. Helping people to get help in the comfort of their homes. I'm sure Georgia, I just revealed that Georgia will be here. We'll talk about that. I've got the Sandra Reish couple retreats and the women's retreats that I do. And I have 2 small, wonderful kids, and I just wasn't able to keep up. And sometimes that's the truth you have to reveal to yourself, that you can't keep up, and something has to give. You can't do everything. We want to do everything. We want to reach for those stars, as I say at the end of the show. But sometimes reaching for the stars, you got to remove some obstacles. And so a tough decision had to be made. And I had a beautiful run doing this show, but I decided for now, this is something I'd have to take a break on. So that's what started my truth on that. Again, not always the truth you want to hear. And one of my special guests has just arrived. So in a moment, we'll start talking to her. But again, I'm going to ask her, and that's something I feel so passionately about, is that if you really have followed this show and really want to learn about living your best life, you have to start by telling yourself the truth. And even if the truth isn't pretty, if you find out like you're lazy and you don't really want to exercise, that's already better if you can acknowledge the truth. So we'll talk about that. It's coming to terms with your truth, and I'm going to explain to you in psychology why that's so important. But let me just start by saying this. So I said there'd be some special guests today. So I was very privileged. I had some incredible guests on the show. It's, again, I'm getting all choked up. It's tough. And I have 2 therapists that work very closely with me at the clinic. And it started very much like, hey, you want to come by and do a show with me and see how it goes and be my guest. And one of my therapists has, she's come by time and time again, and I just sit next to her and I listen to her talk, and I'm just blown away. She's just been a gift and an incredible clinician. And she's helped us understand emotions. She's helped us understand boundaries. She's helped us understand post-traumatic stress, addiction. We've talked about so many things. So if you follow the show, you know who I'm talking about. Melissa Hindley is here. Melissa, I'm all choked up. You've been such a part of the show. Thank you so much for coming for my last show. Welcome back.
Thank you. Honestly, I was so happy and honored to be a part of the last show, and it really, truly meant a lot to me. So I'm getting choked up too. But yeah, it meant a lot to me, and I'm really happy to be here to kick it off.
Yeah, it's so I was talking before you got here about I was thinking about what do we talk about, and I think that both with you, and I've already revealed Georgia will be here for those of you who have heard Georgia many times on the radio. I think the theme is going to be what are the biggest secrets that you think you can review on how people live their lives. And I'm going to start it off again by repeating that we need to start by telling ourselves the truth. And a very big adage in psychology is that acceptance, this is a brilliant line in psychology. I wish it was mine, but it's not. Acceptance is the precursor of change. And I say that to almost all my clients. And let me just explain how difficult a concept that is, because you tell someone acceptance is the precursor of change, and let's say they're overweight, and they're saying, you want me to accept I'm overweight? And actually, you can only change things once you accept where you are at this particular moment. So I'm going to start off the banter that we're going to do on some of the secrets of life. That, for me, was a profoundly life-changing moment to understand that we must accept where we are at a particular moment if we want to change something. So if right now I have to accept that I can't keep up, that's the first step for me to decide what to do next. I can't do anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to be walking around saying I can't keep up and with no solution in sight. If my relationship would be failing, thank God it's not. But if it were, first step would be to acknowledge it's failing. And then I can start to bounce around ideas. So that would be one of my key secrets to life is I'm very big on the truth. Tell yourself the truth, even if it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and understand that accepting even the ugly is the first step you can do towards change. Melissa, your thoughts on that comment and any others you want to add?
Yeah, it's true. And I love how, especially acknowledging the process that it took you to make this decision. And acceptance is one of the biggest parts. And coming back to, I think, one of the earliest shows and something that has really helped me on this path of acknowledging acceptance was very early on in one of the shows, we did a segment on the 4 solutions of what to do when a problem arises.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so the first one was the problem solving. If you have a problem, get into the problem solving. Try to find solutions or try to change, change the situation that you're in. And if that's not possible, then our second option would be to try and change our thoughts about it, right? So try to change the way we think about it, the way that we perceive it. And if that doesn't work, that's what reminded me of this, is that it's coming to the place of acceptance, right? Acknowledging acceptance.
Right.
that this is the way it is. Now, acceptance doesn't mean, this is the way it is and we sit back passively.
No.
It means this is the way it is, and that what can we do to move forward?
Right.
And then the last one is, as we love talking about too, is to do nothing and to stay miserable.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound very good.
No, but unfortunately, a lot of people.
A lot of it. So that reminds me, I feel like we're on memory lane. That reminds me of our shows on victim mentality, right? We did many shows on victim mentality because that's a big problem. That's probably one of the number one problems that people get stuck with in therapy is when they get seduced by staying in victimhood. Yeah, that's important.
So I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was trying to, that acceptance piece, of trying to, you talked about on the beginning of the show of how accepting you had a lot on your plate, and although this was really rewarding and beneficial, but that sometimes we have to look at, putting ourselves first. And I think that's also what I try to teach my client, because it's also a journey that I have been on, is trying to say yes to myself more and no to other things that have come up, because I have a tendency to take on a lot.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think that's so important, and I think it's hard to do. I think with any other boundaries, there has to be flexibility.
Yes.
And so we negotiate things. And, I listen to you talk. We have to take a commercial break in a minute, but I listen to you talk, and I've seen you, I just want to say on the radio that I've seen you grow on the show. I've literally seen you grow on the show. I remember you showing up here the first time, pretty nervous, pretty nervous with notes and everything. And now you've just blossomed. So I've really seen things really change for you in your career indirectly as we were doing the show. So it's just beautiful to listen to you speak. I cannot thank you enough. I want to keep talking about it, but I just want to make sure we don't run out of time without me saying thank you for all your wisdom. Yes. Our viewers are very grateful. Again, if you want to by any chance call in by some miracle on the last show, who knows, 1-866-472-5792. We are well aware of the fact that the majority of listeners are not listening to the show live. So we accept that, and we are still here in very good spirit and very grateful to all of you. It's been something.
So nice.
And I think what you just said about the steps is one of those really important lessons. I was saying right before you arrived, I was mentioning some of our popular shows, but it's interesting because there's themes here, because our most popular show was on nutrition, and it was on a controversial topic of nutrition, a certain way of eating doesn't always sit well with people. But I think the theme here, and as people listen to the show when the show is over, you might go back on straighttalksandarish.com. You can listen to a show anytime, and I think most of these topics are pretty timeless. I want you to remember again the concept of gathering information is empowerment, so that you can make your own decision. Even a show on nutrition, you might hear it and go, oh, I don't buy that. I'm not into that. I don't agree with what they're saying there. But knowledge is power. Yeah. So having information to make your own decision, many times Melissa spoke, and I'm sure many times when I spoke, people don't always agree. People sometimes do want to stay miserable, and they're allowed to, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's, again, take the information.
And be curious.
Be curious. So well said. Okay, we're going to take a short break. I'm pretty sure when we come back, we'll be joined by also wonderful Georgia Dow, and the three of us will sit here and reminisce and talk about what are the top things that we can leave you with as we go forward. This is Straight Talk with Sandra Reish, and we'll be right back.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats, and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
A fresh look at today's health. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reish.
So back on Straight Talk with Sandra Reish, we're talking about, what were some of the highlights and what are the thoughts we want to leave you with? So I throw that to you, Melissa. We there's lots of things we talked about and we can review them, but we're already at the second segment. There's only 4 segments. This is it. It's unbelievable. This is it. By the way, I also want to do a little shout out to Erin, who guided us through the show, and it's been amazing. Both Erins. I've had 2 Erins who have been I guess they're called engineers. I'm not really sure what the right terminology is, but they've both been great. You know who you are. Thank you very much. And everyone again at Voice America has been terrific. Woo! I think that was them in the background.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. Well, you've been great. Thank you so much. Melissa. Thank you. Melissa, what do you think where do we take people for them to continue the journey if they've been loyal to the radio show and now it's not going to be coming on every week? What should they be thinking about?
That's a great question. Because, the radio show it's so nice to see people's comments about the radio show. So that's been really nice. But I'd encourage, there's a lot of, first of all, to reach out. Like there's a lot of resources. There's a lot of free resources, which I'm sure you guys are going to talk about, or resources that the center has that you've already mentioned. But I think like the biggest thing is really to coming off of the truth when you said be honest with ourselves and and coming with the truth that we have to tell ourselves is really the biggest message that I've learned, like I said, of my journey was to understand that my feelings were important and our emotions. You'll hear me talk a lot about emotions. That's basically what I talk about in our sessions, but they're very important. And I want to, because I feel like there's
why are they so important? You've taken so many people on a journey about emotions.
So many
why is it so important?
Well, the thing is that, we try, first of all, we're not taught what to do with these emotions, right? We're not set, no one really sits us down and says, this is what you do when you're angry. This is what you do when you're sad. This is what you do when you're anxious, right? Yeah. And because there's a lot of negative messages that we received about emotions, right? Like, stop crying, or, especially with men, sometimes the older mentality is like to man up and to stop crying and you're not allowed to cry, or women as don't react or go to your room, right? So there's a lot of negative messages that we might have received about these emotions, and that can be hard when we're trying to, because our emotions, we need them to be able to know what to do with them. So it's like going to a car, like a mechanic. If we don't know what's wrong with it, if we don't know what our emotions are, how are we supposed to fix it?
Oh, that's a great analogy. So we have to know what we're feeling.
To know.
Right. So that's and that reminds me of a line that I talk about often is, what do I feel and what do I need?
Oh, I love that line. Yeah.
What do I feel and what do I need? So that's another big takeaway that people throughout the day need to remember to say, what do I feel and what do I need? Because like your mechanic example, which is so great, that is the only way that you can get to the bottom of the problem.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. So that's why emotions are important, and to figure out what we can do with them so that we can use them to our advantage instead of letting them hurt us if we suppress. And as we know that suppressing those emotions can lead to anxiety and depression.
Yeah, that's certainly come up on a lot of shows.
Yeah.
So I said special guests, and my second special guest has arrived. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with Melissa, and I'm just going to say, I just want to say it out loud. Again, I'm going to get all choked up, but I can't thank you enough. This is a guest who's been on the show from the beginning many, many times, and offered so much brilliance. We've had way too much fun doing the show together. We've had a lot of laughs, and I'm thinking. If you're the teaser is, I'm thinking of a show we did on two therapists having coffee. It was based on Jerry Seinfeld's two comedians in a car having coffee. And she's arrived, and you all know it's the amazing Georgia Dow. Georgia, it's our last show today. I can't thank you enough, and our listeners have loved hearing from you. Thank you so much for coming here today and joining us. What are your thoughts on this day?
Oh, I think that I'm so thankful that I've gotten this opportunity to be able to help people. I love being on with you. I'm so excited that I get to be here.
With the three of us.
Probably just too much fun.
Yeah, too much.
And I just wanted to say thank you to you, Sandra, for helping so many people. I have my people that are listening to the show, and they've just found it so helpful. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, cool.
And it's so sad that it's going to be ending, but so excited for the new things that are to come.
Yes.
And you've helped a lot of people. You've made a difference in people's lives. And hopefully that everyone that listens to the show will continue to grow and find new fun ways to make their lives better.
Well, so beautifully said. So that's exactly what I thought we should talk about today is, the show's theme talked about the secrets of living your best life. So I asked Melissa, and I'm asking you to review some of the top secrets you think you have, and where do people go to from here? We've been on a 3-year journy of trying to 3 years, trying to teach people like from victimization to boundaries to anxiety, of where are the traps and what do they have to watch for to make their life go to the next level. Melissa was talking a lot about, and I started with acceptance is the precursor of change. We have to tell ourselves the truth always. We need to accept who we are in order to make those changes. So
good and the bad.
Yes, and the ugly even.
Yes.
Even the ugly.
Even
not
the ugly.
So good. Melissa jumped in, and she made a really good point about if you're not in touch with your emotions, it's like going to the mechanic and you don't know where the problem is. Mm-hmm. What do you think are the big things that people, what stands out for you through the themes we've talked about that's really important?
I would say appreciate what you have. Take a moment through your day, every day, to know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That feeling of I'm not doing enough, I should be doing more. We look on Instagram, we look on social media, we see all these people that seem to be doing all these spectacular things. A whole bunch of them are lies. I'm just going to say that.
They're all lies, aren't they? I mean, I never see anyone have a fight with their husband on social media.
Even if they are, in Aruba, it doesn't mean that they're actually
having fun.
Exactly.
Right.
We picture out this lie that makes us feel bad, or we're not good enough, or we're not doing enough. And to stay away a little bit more from that, cut down your social media and appreciate that, who you are, what you do, what you need, and really spend a moment every day to just listen to yourself. What do I need? Who am I? And be thankful for what you do have, because if we focus on the negative, then all we see is negative, and that's not a great way to live.
Well, I think that's a great point. So you're really highlighting gratitude, and you also mentioned not focusing on the negative. So again, another key point that we want people to take away is that humans are wired to have something called a negativity bias, meaning that we do notice the negative. So what you're talking about requires a lot of muscle, lifting weights. Like you have to be involved. You have to work a little harder. And, you both exemplify what it is to live a really good life. I know you both professionally, both of you, and personally. And would you agree that to get to those levels, that level of involvement and happiness and joy, it takes a little work? What you just said, focus on being grateful. A lot of people listening are like, oh, well, there's a lot of things going on that are horrible. How do you do that? You have to really just do it, don't you?
Yes.
What are your thoughts, both of you?
Well, it's like going to the gym, right? Like I can wish that I can lift 15-pound bicep and hope that I get nice arms,
muscles,
right?
definition.
Nice arms. But the thing is that how do we get better at something is through practice. So it's trying to implement those small changes throughout our day. So something that I do is to try and come up with 3 things that I'm grateful for, and 2 of those are external things. But then I always try to remind myself of one thing internally about myself.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're not all external. There has to be one thing internal about you.
Yeah.
Another little twist on the gratitude thing.
What do you do, Sandra?
Yeah.
Well, I do keep a gratitude journal, so I think we're all in sync.
Yeah.
I don't do it every day, but I do it most days. I specifically do it when I'm having a bad day. I do it like yesterday. I had a really good day. You guys know we had a good day. We had a meeting at work. It was really good. I felt so much gratitude towards my team, and there are these big changes going on in my life. And so I was like just about to watch some good reality TV, and I was like, no, I got to open my gratitude journal. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. No, we got to like. How do you savor the sweetness? Because not every day is a good day.
Yeah.
So I try to do that. I also feel that, and this is another segue for us to talk about, I really feel that we're all only as good as our stress management techniques. And I think that a strength of mind.
Look at that one. Pulling out the bombs.
I'm pulling out the bombs. It's the last show. If not now, then when? She's laughing. You can laugh out loud. She's quietly laughing.
Oh, Sophie's so loud. No one's going to hear anything that anyone says.
I think one of the secrets, I really feel one of the secrets is having good habits. And I am very much...
That is a really tough one, though, Sandra.
Yes, but you make a deal with yourself. I don't make it that negotiable.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do if you break your deal?
Oh, well, then you have to forgive yourself.
Okay.
You must forgive yourself, because otherwise then you're getting really rigid. You want to have good habits most of the time. There's just some days you can't get it right, and you got to forgive yourself. It's not always easy, but I think having good habits is something working together with you guys, and you guys treating people with anxiety, depression, relationship issues. Wouldn't you say that people who have good habits, eat properly, move their bodies, sleep properly, just have an upper hand?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, it's just that, again, when we're taking care of our bodies and we're taking care of our mind and our health, we're taking care of ourselves, then we're going to be less likely to be irritable, less likely to be frustrated, and less likely to be more negative. So we're just setting ourselves up with an upper hand to be able to deal with difficult situations. It kind of reminds me of, personally, I went to Georgia with something, and she had a good metaphor that I really hold on to. It was about your poker chips.
So tell us.
Oh, that happiness is not, like, most people think about that they're actually scared to be happy because you feel like you're climbing up in happiness and then you're going to fall down and you're going to lose whatever 20 points of happiness because you're going to fall and it's going to really hurt. And that is one way to look at it, but it's not an accurate way. The way that I like to look at it is that you're gathering poker chips, and the more poker chips you have, the more games that you can play, the more times that you can be in. It hurts less. If you have 1,000 poker chips and you lose a 10-point hand, it hurts. But if you have 10 poker chips, it hurts much more.
Right.
And the only thing that you're here to do in life is to gather happiness, to make sure that you are saying, I lived the best, did the most that I can, and so that you don't, it actually protects you, because when you fall down, you have all those poker chips to fall down, and it doesn't hurt as much because you've been paying attention to make sure you gather as much happiness. And if you have to sell a little bit of happiness off, it's not as bad as if you have to sell all your happiness off because you haven't been gathering enough happiness.
I can certainly see why you like that.
That's really good. And I remind, all I say is poker chips. I love that. And then that helps, right?
Right, so you try to gather happiness into your life?
Yeah.
The poker chips analogy?
Well, yes, that.
Who knew on Straight Talk we're promoting poker chips?
I know. But yeah, no, because I was scared that I was so happy that something bad was going to happen. So I was trying to remind myself that it's okay to be happy and not expect that the shoe's gonna drop, So I just say poker chips. I'm allowed to accept these feelings and to be more in the,
and just have more and more happiness.
More and more happiness.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, we're already at the end of segment 2. I can't believe it. I feel like it's counting down. I can't even. Anyways, sorry, we're all getting a little emotional over here. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back. I'm going to ask Georgia and Melissa if they remember what their favorite shows were. I'm curious about that. I'm going to take the internet while we're on commercial break and show them some of the shows they did. They both did really, at this point, close to hundreds of shows, both of you. And again, I said it before, and I just want to say it again. You've taken people on an incredible journey. You're both absolutely amazing clinicians, and you've been very generous. They don't get paid to do this, and they've come over here. They're busy people who have other ways to put poker chips in their life than come here and do Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. Just shows you the extraordinary people they've been. So thank you both so much. We'll be right back on Straight Talk with Sandra Reish.
Your life, your health, your network. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Your life, your health, your network. This is Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reish.
We're back on Straight Talk with Georgia Dow, Melissa Hindley, two incredible psychotherapists at the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression. Georgia is my partner in a company called Anxiety Videos. Georgia, it's the last time you get a chance to tell people what are our videos about, what's that? It's not the last time you're coming back?
I might come back. I don't know if anyone will be listening.
What are our videos about? And is it something that people, how could it help them improve their lives?
So the videos are like taking therapy home, so you can do it in the privacy of your own home. A lot of people are shy, they might feel uncomfortable, or sometimes you don't remember. Like, you're in a therapy session. It's a hard thing to remember everything. I don't even remember everything I said. That's why I take notes. So you can kind of go over things. We deal with sleep, we deal with depression, we deal with conflict resolution. That's one of our newer ones. Emotional intelligence, how to really understand your emotions. I know that you're really great for the pulling in. How do you do that? Getting to the center so that you know what you want in life. Some people do not. And so therapy is one way, books are another way. And if you want something that's in between both of those, you can take a check at the videos.
Yeah, I like it because, the ones on the boundaries and consequences, because I find that's a lot of ways where we talk about, but a lot of my clients have and even for me too, sometimes at the beginning, there was less clarity. Okay, what does that really look like? So I love how the videos they're concrete and they come up with strategies and things that you can do to put those boundaries and consequences, for example.
Well, that's a good point. And actually, we've never said this before, but a lot of people don't know that if you go on the website, there is a teaser video. We created it a few months ago so that people can see what the videos are about, because it's very abstract when you talk about videos.
Yes. So, what are you getting?
Yeah. What are you getting and how can this be of help to you? What's the website? How do people find out about this?
It's anxiety-videos.com or it's master-life.com.
Beautiful. So I asked you both on the commercial break to think about what were your favorite shows and why. So
that's a big one.
Yeah, I'm making you work the last day. You got to work till the end.
Last day. Well, one of my favorite shows. Is it okay if I go first?
Yeah.
So
I think she wanted you to go first.
I think
that was the finger pointing at you. Might have been. You can't see that. That might have been the giveaway.
Is that a sign?
We should have a blooper reel of the things that happened.
That'd be
It'd be so fun. Yeah.
So one of my favorite shows that we talked about was one of the first ones that I did, but it was on mindfulness.
Ah, yes.
That was one of my favorites. And really, I think there's so much to mindfulness. I mean, it's a huge wave that's coming up that has come up more recently in psychology, and a lot of people are more open to hearing about what mindfulness is, but there's still a lot of misconceptions. So it's great to try and find out what it means and how you can, there's so many different ways that you can practice mindfulness, whether that be meditation, whether that be yoga, whether that be, karate, whether that be going for a walk. sitting by yourself and focusing on your breath. Like there's a wide range of mindfulness. So I'd really encourage you to try and research it and to see which one.
And go back and listen to the show.
Or the show, yeah.
It's on the website,
It's on the website.
StraightTalkSandraReish.com. That's one of the reasons we're mentioning the shows. I mean, I'm not doing that for any personal promotion.
Yeah, no,
it's just so that people can go back and listen to the whole shows. Yeah. And you did do a great show on mindfulness.
Yeah, one of the things that I take away is that is really trying to be in the present moment. And that's kind of like the poker chips we talked about. But it's really banking on those positive experiences and trying to be in the present moment, because this is where a lot of fear and anxiety starts to come up, is like when we think about the future or we get stuck in the past, right? I find a lot of clients, we get fear, especially with our world today, and there's a lot of scary things happening. So, we don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now.
No, we really don't.
Nothing. And I can't change what happened 5 minutes ago.
Right. So we have this.
We have this. The only moment that I can fully control myself is right now.
Brilliant.
Beautifully said.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Georgia.
I really enjoyed, there's two that I really enjoyed, but I've enjoyed all of them. I'm not going to, I love working with you because we have so much fun and we just feed off of each other, and I learn so much. Even when I hear all of us talk, I always pick little pieces up from it. Right. But I remember the Living Your Best Life, where we had little short snappers.
Okay.
Which I loved because there was just little tiny pieces, nuggets of goodness, little pearls that you could pick up that were easy, that were quick, that you could maybe implement that might fit in your life. And that was really great. And then the other one that I found really interesting, because I felt like I had to put my own feet to the fire, was the how to make a resolution and keep to it.
Oh, remember that? And we made commitments, you and I, and we did it.
And we did them,
yes.
Right? And took photos of them, and we sent them to each other. I don't think that we actually ever put it back onto the show, our experience of it. But I loved that because I actually made, because you're
on live radio,
which makes me feel obligated to make sure I do it, because I'm obligated to the people that are listening, to myself, to you. Like it was really interesting. And I loved your rule, which was to make sure that you don't just say you're going to do it and when you're going to do it, but write down your contract of when is it going to start, when are you going to have it done, when is it going to be finished, what are you, like, you're actually making the contract. You're really making a contract. That I found was really nice. And we went through different ways that we make changes in our life.
It's a good point, because I remember you were working on speaking languages in your house, and I think you did it. And I remember I was working on exercising more, and I exercise a lot now. So it actually worked. It really, commitments are a big part of making changes in people's lives. So that's a good one.
And we talked about, you have 14 days. You can make a new change, do it for 14 days, and then you're going to be there, and at 21 probably it'll be pretty set.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool too, because it didn't feel like it was too much or too daunting to just spend 5 or 15 minutes a day at something.
Yeah. Great. And we had a lot of laughs, and there was also some very serious topics. I remember I was talking about how to choose a therapist, which I think is a show to go back to as well, because people are struggling, and you have to be careful when you choose a therapist. And we spent a whole show on that. How can you be sure that's the right therapist? What should you ask? And how do you know? I remember that. I remember having a colleague of yours, Renee, on talking about social media and the dangers of. There's something you want to say about that? Yes. And and he's in the field of social media, and you do a lot of work with electronics, but yet both of you were talking about how electronics can be really devastating for kids. We did a lot of shows on kids and parenting.
Yes.
I was speaking to a parent just a few minutes ago about a situation that happened between our kids that indirectly tied back to social media or TV. And we really covered those topics, and it's interesting because we're 3 adults, and could we all agree that we all love electronics?
Yes.
Your phone is very close. My phone's very close.
We have our Apple Watch.
Watches. They both make fun of me because I'm Android, but it's coming. Okay, it's coming. They always make fun. Georgia's being all quiet. She mocks me. I have to say it. The woman mocks me. Okay, because I'm saying it. Now it's the last show. What have I got to lose, right?
Well, it's because you use your computer is Apple and your phone.
Oh, you mocked me before I had an Apple computer.
That's
way before that.
Don't send me angry hate mail, people that love Android. Android's great too. So is Samsung.
She's making quite the face. Anyways, as much as the 3 of us love electronics, we all preach the same message. in limited dosages, particularly with your kids. That was another big message on Straight Talk, that electronics for your kids is a privilege, not a right. Mm-hmm. How often do you guys still feel that way? And do you feel it's really important for people to keep that in mind in raising their kids?
Yeah, very important. And I find that there's less information about it, because right now there's technology is another wave that's coming up so quickly, and it's hard to keep up to it. And we really have to take the time and to really understand how this is impacting our kids and how does it relate to anxiety and
absolutely. Yeah, and anxiety is one of the biggest topics we went to. Georgia, you're still very much involved in the field of electronics. Where are you at with this? Do you still feel very much the same way?
I do. And now, last weekend, one of my children actually said to me, Mom, why are you on your phone so much? I'm actually cutting out social media from my life. So I've gone off of, I'm not on even Twitter anymore.
You're not on Twitter?
Wow. I'm there. I'm not tweeting anymore. I've deleted most of it.
Why is this change happening?
You know what? It took up a lot of time. I did not find that I was getting back what I was putting into it.
No poker chips.
I also on an Apple phone, they have something called Screen Time, which shows you how much time you spend on the phone. And I did a podcast, and it was on my holidays, and I found out I was really embarrassed by the amount of time, the amount of hours. And I actually thought that it was probably per week, because it was so many hours. I thought it was impossible. And I went, is that per week? And then I had a little mild panic attack saying, oh my God, that was per day. My average screen time per day. And I said, okay, I want to cut it down to 3. And I made it to 3. And now I'm wanting to cut a day. That's still a lot of time on your technology, right? So now I want to cut it down again. So I've gotten rid of all of that. I want to do more things, and I don't want it to be that.
You want to be present in your life.
And the ones that have done it and made those changes, and my clients have really found a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, they study that your mood is improved almost instantly. I mean, after 2 weeks of kids without electronics, there's an increase in empathy. There's
and not just kids, adults too. Social media, even the good stuff. Like I love Pinterest; they've got great stuff. I loved Twitter, just seeing what's happening in the world. But even for adults, it makes us happier. What are you gaining? You're never going to look back on your life and say, "I wish I spent more time on social media." You're never going to say that. And so I'll read a book instead. I'll do some art. I have a puzzle at home. I'm trying to do other things. I'll engage more, and so I'm trying to catch myself more. I'm not fully there yet, but that is my resolution to me, to try to hit, 2 hours, in the 2-hour range to that, which, I think that would be fair.
Well, that's a great segue too. Like, it's been 3 years. What are the biggest changes that both of you feel you've made, not as a result of the radio show, but during this time? That might be one of yours.
That's definitely
you've really
one of mine,
reduced your social media. What's one of yours? What's really changed for you in the last 3 years?
Mine would be, it's kind of what I started off the show with, was saying more yes to me and maybe no to someone else, right? Because that was my problem, was that sometimes I take on so much, and that, social obligations and with friends.
So would that be the relationship of feeling you have a right to do it, or even the conflict of having to be able to, the risk of saying no to someone?
Well, both? It was more, do I have the right? But that's I think that's the biggest understanding my emotions, understanding my right to them. It's just like when we're thirsty, right? We don't say, why am I thirsty? I shouldn't be thirsty. We don't kind of question our thirsty. If we're thirsty, we just go and take a glass of water, and
you feel you have a right to,
and we have a right to, because you're thirsty. Because I'm thirsty. And so I'm trying to treat my emotions, especially more the ones, I don't like to categorize negative and positive, but the ones
that are looked upon negatively,
as it's my right, and it's okay.
Love that.
Wow. Well, and for me, it's, like I started the show, it's really about the balance, and it's very similar to Melissa's.
To live balance.
Yeah, to live balance, and to be able to acknowledge sometimes, like my tagline on the show is keep your eyes on the stars. So I love the idea of reaching for the stars, going for it. I'm very passionate about those kinds of things. But, even ending this radio show, again, same concept, that sometimes to reach your stars, you can't be grabbing at everything along the route. And to sometimes
pick your stars.
You have to pick your stars sometimes. Let some stuff go.
I like that one.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. I want to still talk a tiny bit about anxiety, victimization. I feel those are big traps that people fall into. I want to give some parting advice to people. I want to hear you guys, your final thoughts. We'll be right back on Straight Talk with Sandra Reish.
Opinions, options, answers. You're listening to Voice America Health and Wellness.
Join the therapist who is affectionately known as the Couple Whisperer, Sandra Reish, on her famous couple retreats and change your life forever. Sandra offers couple retreats in beautiful locations several times a year that can radically change your love life. Couples describe her retreats as life-changing. Regain that loving feeling, bring your intimacy to a new level, and rediscover excitement and joy. Find out more at helpforanxietydepression.com or call 514-796-4357. We all want love and safety. Now you can have it. Call 514-796-4357 or helpforanxietydepression.com.
Change your life forever with the latest cutting-edge products for home study treatment for anxiety, featuring the clinical director of the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression and host of Straight Talk, Sandra Reish. Sandra is joined by top therapist Georgia Dow in this revolutionary anxiety videos therapy series. Thousands of people have benefited from this scientifically proven treatment approach. Isn't it time you chose yourself? Visit anxiety-videos.com right now. That's anxiety-videos.com and change your life forever.
Your life, your health, your network. Voice America Health and Wellness.
You are listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. To connect with the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. Again, that's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@helpforanxietydepression.com. Now, back to Straight Talk. Here's Sandra Reish.
Okay, so we're back, and I've got like a lot of things I want to do with this remaining time. So first of all, I don't love the word goodbye altogether. So I was thinking what I want to do is say how you can stay in touch with each one of us. So for myself, you can find, unfortunately or fortunately, I'm still very much on social media. You can find me on Facebook, no problem. And the website is helpforanxietydepression.com. We have an email, info@helpforanxietydepression.com. And I would love if people stay in touch with me. Melissa, how can people stay in touch with you?
Yeah, you can call the center's number at 514-777-4530.
Okay, great. I'm sure people are going to want to stay in touch with you. Georgia.
You can do the same thing. I'm not on social media, right? Like,
but how should they call the center?
They can call the center.
Okay.
Melissa said the number.
Yes. So if there's a question.
Or you can take a look at anxiety-videos.com.
And there's a place to ask questions.
There's email there as well that you can reach. Either of us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be around. We're going to be doing things. So we're going to be posting it and letting people know. So anxiety is still what I spend a lot of my life talking about to people. Would you both agree that, we're going to talk a little bit about the traps people still get into? Anxiety is the number one mental health issue in North America. That is still true today. As Georgia and I talk about a lot in the videos, anxiety is incredibly treatable. What do you think is getting people into trouble? Either one of you or both of you. You just shoot out some comments. We're at the short snappers part of the day, so boom, boom, let's go. No pressure.
I think that something that's really hard is that people often don't want to look at what's happening in their lives really honestly. And so sometimes we think that something's going to go away on its own and we don't take care of it. And so you want to look at your life and know that you can make it better. Like, out of all of the things that you can do in your life is to evolve and become a better person. It's a wonderful gift. Not always pleasant. I don't like to recognize the things that I do wrong. It's unpleasant for me. Yeah. No, but that will make me better. And so if you look at it as an improvement, not as a failure, it's much easier to take a look.
Okay. Melissa, thoughts?
Yeah, there's also a wide range of what anxiety looks like, right? So
that's true.
It's important to check out like what are the symptoms and sometimes people say, but I don't have panic attacks, but that's only one way of what anxiety looks like.
Or I never get angry.
Right? So it's
just really not a good sign.
No, not a good sign. Not a good sign. So I think it's like really recognizing that a lot of the symptoms of anxiety can be wide range. Sometimes it's more worry thoughts and sometimes the symptoms can be just very physical. So really try to look at the symptoms or try to talk to someone and see, could this be anxiety?
reach out for help. Yeah, because I was thinking even about the changes that you both said, and I see there's something you want to say, so keep that thought. I want it. But I was thinking about the changes you both said that you made, and I was thinking that maybe we have to also review, how do you get to changes? Like, how do you do those changes? But Georgia, you had a thought on the anxiety.
I was just wanting to know if you could give anyone, like we work as therapists, and if you could give like the world a gift of a trait or a skill or something to become better people. And maybe this is too big of a question to ask.
Let's do it.
And you could give it to them. What would be the thing that you would want people to, and you can't give all of it, but one thing that you would want people to have, Sandra?
It's a great question.
You after.
And you know what? Strangely, I have the answer. Just like that.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, there's many things,
of
but
course.
I think that as adults, and we are talking about adults, we always have choice. We don't always have good choices, but we always have choice. And the concept of having choice, even when you have two bad choices, the concept of choice equals empowerment, and choice is the antidote to victimization, which in my opinion is the biggest trap people get into.
Wow, that's
Boom.
true. Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
You guys.
What
That's huge.
about
you, Georgia?
What about you want me to go for it? I'll do mine. So my thought, if I could give anyone a gift, it would be to believe in yourself and to have that really strong, positive inner voice. If we had that good coach, if we played this game like it was a video game and so there was no risk and might as well just try it and go out there and do what you can and fully believe in yourself, I think the world would be a better place. I think there's less chance. We often we're our worst enemies.
Right.
It's not out there. We point out there all the time, fingers at this is why and that's why. It's inside.
God, you guys are brilliant. So you're talking about, just to reiterate, what we're talking about is your internal coach.
Yes.
You can do it. You can do it.
Yes, to truly believe in your own empowerment, in your
Beautiful.
skills, and to be able to go out there and do it. Just risk it, because what's the worst that's going to happen? Just don't live with regret. Just try it out. Even if it fails, you'll be like, at least I tried.
Exactly.
At least I tried.
Nice.
Because a lot of people think that tough love is actually going to motivate them, but we know that doesn't work, right? It's like
internal tough love is no good.
Tough love is no good, right?
Kicking the dog when it's down just keeps the dog down.
Or when I thought about this when I'm at the gym working out, and I'm like, I'm really tired. Like I'm on that treadmill and I have like maybe 5 minutes to go, and I feel like giving up, and I'm so tired. I don't sit there, you should give up. You're gonna fail. Like I don't do that. What do I tell myself? I can do it. I got this. It's 5 more minutes, right? And that's what motivates me. So if I use that at the gym, then I have to try and use that overall.
Yes, and even saying to yourself, I can do it, if you really couldn't, to be able to say to yourself,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay that I couldn't
that's
do
really
it.
nice.
At least I did the 20 minutes.
So would that be your
No,
one?
she has one, I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
She has one.
I think the biggest gift, again, I'm going to use myself, that I practiced for myself, is communication.
Ooh.
I think that one was the biggest one, because that goes back to knowing your rights, but also just, communicate. Don't let things build up. Don't let problems build up. Don't let hurt build up, because that's where we get resentful. And it's just about communicating. Just, trying to, even if it might be difficult, just to try and
Do it.
Say it.
Yeah.
And then you'll deal with what comes after.
Which means, again, you're talking about communicating, especially using your emotions, those difficult emotions, and learning how to express difficult emotions.
Yes, that's
People
a
can
gift.
get this conflict resolution and learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's a gift and it's a skill.
Yes.
It's not something we just get. You have to actually learn it, like learning a language.
Yes.
How do you have those difficult conversations? And
Did we do it? Was the show on?
we had a conflict resolution show. Like today, I had a situation where I have a big trip coming up, and I'll share the story. We're getting to the end, but I noticed that the communication between me and the tour operator, it's not been great, and I started getting like a feeling like this is it's not a good sign if it's not going well before the trip. And so, what do I do with this? And I did the Melissa. I called him up and I said, they're not even charging me the money. That's making me nervous. I said, this is going to sound really weird, but I'm feeling like I need a little reassurance because I'm not hearing from you. You're not charging me the money. And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. And he started laughing. His wife had just given birth, but he said, there's not many clients who call asking to pay.
Yeah.
But I needed to get it out there,
Yeah.
because it was starting to build up in me. I was starting to build a story, which is another thing we have to leave people with, is the story you tell yourself in your head is the story that determines your life. You can build up a story. This person's out to get me. Everything's going wrong. Or you can change the the story, have a conversation.
And how many times have we each told ourselves a story and then found out that we were 100% wrong? It's a really wrong story.
Like so many times.
So many times. And then you feel ridiculous and hopefully relieved that your story was completely wrong.
True.
Wow. Yeah, those are good ones. We have literally 2 minutes left.
Wow.
If there's anything more you guys want to say, this is it, kids. This is it. Again, for me, I want to, again, thank you both so much for coming and joining me for my last show. It's a big thing for me, and I've just really had fun with both of you. It's been just great. For me, as I said, the tips, the strategies that you guys have talked about, I think you've helped. So, I mean, do you guys realize that there's been 22,000 listeners every time you've been on the show?
Wow.
That's a lot of listeners, and those are the people you've impacted. So great job, guys.
Thank you. I just want to say that I remember when I first started at the center, knowing that you were doing this radio. It's like secretly, I was like, I hope she asked me to come on. It was like my dream, but I was too shy to ask, and I didn't know how it works. And then when she finally, very soon after, like I thought I would have to, be there a lot longer, but very soon after I got the email, and it was honestly one of my dreams. So it was so much fun and so exciting, and it's funny that I look back now, and that's really you're truly an inspiration.
Thank you, Melissa.
And I want to say,
I want to
say thank you. It is wonderful to have like loving, supportive women in my life, and I just want to. Like, if you find good people in your life, hold on to them. I'm going to cry. It's just wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you for being my friends, for hanging out, for us being able to share things and help people. Yeah. We have such a wonderful gift of a job to be able to do this. Thank you, Sandra, so much for allowing us to do this in a grand stage to be able to help many people. And thank you, everyone, for listening, and keep on doing it and become better people.
Yes. Beautifully said. I think that gets the message out. We definitely want to thank all our listeners and all the people behind the scenes who have helped us. The message has always been to go out there and live your best life. And so we're going to say au bientôt, which is what we say in Quebec, Canada, which is see you soon. And go for it. Go live your best life. And of course, guys, you'll take me out with this. This is Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. Keep your eyes on the stars.
Thank you for listening to Straight Talk with Sandra Reish. We hope you've enjoyed today's show, and we'll tune in again next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Now, go live your best life.